Redefine Radio on the Face Radio. Welcome back for our premiere show. We're so happy to be here. I have my first guest joining us, the Harlem drag princess, who is classy but ghetto. I love this bio for yourself so I just have to repeat it word for word because it's worth it. Still the sweetest bitch you'll ever meet.
True.
Here to talk about the Fluid Project and Black and Bougie at Hush coming up later this month. Please welcome to the show, Robyn Banks is here. Yay!
Hi.
Robyn, thank you so much for coming on and being my very first guest. How are you?
Bob. I am good. I am excited. I am tired. I am all of the above, but overall, I am grateful.
So at this point, we're just a few days away from the Black and Bougie event at Hush, and we're gonna get into it all in just a minute. But do you feel ready?
I am never ready for these kind of events. I always, I try not to do things last minute, but it happens, and I know I shouldn't. But I think overall, I'm ready for it to happen. I'm excited for it. I haven't chosen the music I'm gonna perform yet. In that aspect, so there's that. But other than that, I think I'm ready. I'm probably 80% ready.
Surprises will be had by all. I'm sure it's going to be great. We're going to get to more of that in a second. But I want to talk about some of the other stuff because you're a busy little bitch and you have a lot of really fun stuff going on. I want to talk about the Fluid Project because you just recently did a clothing campaign for them. The Fluid Project is a movement dedicated to making gender-free apparel, highlighting self-expression and humanity through fashion, community outreach, activism, and education. So I know that there's a lot of artists that I love and that we both know that have been involved with the Fluid Project in the past. Hibiscus is one, Pixie Aventura, my mom, Lavinia Draper. The list sort of goes on and on as far as New York nightlife is concerned. So can you tell us how you got involved with the Fluid Project and the ad campaign?
Yeah, sure. So I actually am one of the first Fluid Project brand ambassadors that reached out to me. So I remember I was at BBQ's on a random summer day. I think it was spring. And I had just got an email. And I always tell people it's very important to put your email all over because people will email you if they need you for something. Mm-hmm. And they just said, hey, would you want to be a part of, this Pride show that we're planning? It's happening pretty quickly, but they basically gave me a rundown of it. And I was like, yeah, sure. And it was like, we can pay you in gift cards. And at first I was like, what? Willis? But I was like, as a business owner, that's kind of smart. If you're new and you want to get the word out about your products, you would pay a person in gift card because you're getting that money back, but
right. And they're still pretty new. It's 2018 they launched. Is that correct? Yeah.
So, so I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And so I ended up doing that. And then, every time that they do something, massive or a party, they would ask me to perform or just kind of host or just do something, for the brands. And so that was really fun. And then they had a book release called the Untitled book. And that came out, I want to say in 2019. And I was a part of that, which is really, really dope. And I had to buy my own copy, but whatever. Out of money, but that's neither here nor there. Support the artist.
Or the artist, yes.
Book cost me $80. But a 2-page spread. And so I have it displayed here in my apartment. And the page has literally been open to my page since I got in the book. And then with this, they basically, they had some new stuff that was coming out that was for pre-spring, which is some really dope, iconic, t-shirts that has people like Harvey Milk and Marsha P. And, so I was like, I would love to be a part of it. And then, it was we're going to launch it, I think it was February 2nd. And I was like, oh, Black History Month, great. Because I'm also going to be releasing the show idea on the 1st. And so for me, it was a no-brainer. But I love everything they stand for, and I just love that their clothing is really comfortable. And from what I've learned, the last thing that they want to do is that obviously it's a business, right? And so you want to sell clothing, but for them it's kind of making sure that you are comfortable first, and then it's about like selling the clothing. So in the stores, you were able to like try the clothes on and like take photos in them and have fun with them.
Right.
And I was like, well, that's different. Okay. But you know, I just thought it was really cool because you wanted to feel comfortable, you want to look good. So I'm happy. I know that there's like a lot more. We took a shit ton of photos that day. I know that there's gonna be a lot that comes out probably within like obviously like now into the spring. So I'm just excited for that stuff.
Well, you're right there at the top of the site of the website. You look fantastic. Everyone looks really, really good. And you can go to thefluidproject.com. That's fluid with a PH, PHLUID, thefluidproject.com to get your own apparel. Right
yes,
now.
God.
Let's talk a little bit about music before we get into more stuff, because I don't really hear this much about you. You're working on your second recording project right now.
Yeah.
And it's called Long Time Listener, First Time Caller.
Yeah. It's such a long title that like when anyone says it, I just kind of like, because even I'm like, oh, this is really long. But
no, it's not. It's a great phrase, and it's memorable, and well, it's a radio phrase, so obviously I get it. What can we expect? What can we expect?
So I am hoping to. Well, first of all, this project's been a long time in the making. I started working on it during the pandemic because I felt like as an artist, I had nothing to release, right? Like we weren't prepared for a pandemic. Like, you know, my idea was I had all the time in the world to release music. I had all the time in the world to like think of ideas. And then I just kept seeing like all these random TikTok people just coming out with songs and music and videos and, you know, they're blowing up. And I was like, well, what am I doing wrong? Like, and you know, so I said, let me sit down and let me try to write. And I would write stuff and come back to it and then write stuff and come back to it. And I don't think I had a theme. I didn't have a theme for the album. My last album, Jawbreaker, was really, really great. But when I wrote that album, I was in love. I was fat, you know, I was moving, I was going through it. And so like I had a theme. And then I went through the breakup and I got really depressed. And so we started recording like Adele kind of albums. And our producer was like, no, like you need to be happy and continue with like this, you know? So I got thin, we worked on new music, we re-recorded some things, and Jawbreaker was born. And so with this, I feel like I wanted the same, oh my dog is here, I'm sorry. I feel like I wanted the same process, but I didn't know. So at this point, I was just like, okay, let me just, maybe if I do a parody or I do a cover song, let me put it out. And, you know, I was like, you can't force it. And so with this project, I definitely took my time. I sat down, I met with different writers and producers and like engineers. And I had a fleshed out idea of what I wanted it to be because I didn't want it to fail.
Right, of course.
So
you're taking your time with it though now because
just because I have a lot of people that I think I would love to feature on it, and like that was an issue because obviously everyone's busy, so you can't, you know, obviously people agree to do things and like you don't want to be on them like, hey, hello, get on it, like I'm trying to release this, but you know, I just want this to be super all-inclusive, and you know, like I decided that it's probably best to release it like during the Pride season, just because I think that's the time where we all come together and we, you know, any other time of the year, you know, we are all separated. But I like to think that during Pride season, we all come together as one. And so I think that's what I want this album to be. I want this album to be a collection of come togetherness. That's the word.
I think that seems like you are doing a lot to bring us together right now as we speak. I've told you privately that I'm so appreciative of everything that you have going on right now. And I want to talk about Impulse, New York, because I saw in another interview, I knew you were involved, but I didn't know to what extent. Now, Impulse has hosted some really cool events in the past. The Historic Fashion Show. And I know there was a game night that happened. I know that you partnered with Deviant NYC, which is a huge group. They do parties all over the country. Yeah. Aside from that, there's been research studies for black gay couples. I know you did. Free rapid HIV testing, and you're actually the events director. Is that correct?
Yep, that's me.
So here we are. bringing us together as we speak.
Isn't that crazy?
Why wait for Pride season? Can you tell us about Impulse and how you got involved with the organization?
Yeah, sure. So with Impulse, my best friend of 14 years is the president, Day Armbrister, who is a really, really dope pole dancer. Certified at that, honey. Get the right girls together. And he basically reached out and was like, I know how you feel about planning something. I love a good planning session. People like to drink and smoke. I love to plan. It feeds my soul. It makes me happy to do, group things. And like growing up being teenagers, we definitely did a lot of like shows and performances and dance things. And I was always very like extravagant. Like, let's do this. And they were like, pull it back, Rob. I'm like, you're doing like the most. And I'm like, but I just want it to be really dope. And so he's like, like, I know how you are with events. And I think, like they were trying to go like in a different direction. With Impulse, because people knew, like you said, people knew us for the parties, but people didn't know that these things were parties with purposes.
Right.
And so I was like, well, if I'm going to be on this board, I need to know that like I am able to, really put the word out there, because there is still a lot that's happening within the community that we either don't talk about or we don't discuss or we don't feel openly to talk about it. And so once I got the yes for that, I was like, fine, I'm down. So I was like, if we're gonna plan any kind of event, if anyone's gonna ask us to sponsor any event, I need them to answer 3 questions, which is, what is the event? What is it for? And how is it helping the community? And if it's not, for me primarily, if it's not helping the community, I don't want it. Like, I'm gonna decline it. And I've told people that like, I'm just gonna decline it. Like it doesn't really fit with our vision right now. Because people just look at us as like the party,
right.
People. Every time I see someone, they're like, oh my God, y'all threw the party on the yacht. And I was like, right. Yeah, what did you take away from that? And
right.
Like, they couldn't answer, like, oh, open bar, like, there was more than, just drinks flowing and people in speedos, like, So I love being a part of it, and I love, that I'm able to really put the community on and really try to entice people to get more involved. Like, we're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking on, to get other people's visions and ideas out there, but it needs to be with the purpose.
Absolutely. I 1000% agree. This is awesome. Impulse, I want to move on to the Glam Awards a little bit, because Impulse also introduced 2 new awards.
Yes.
The Glam Awards this past year, which was earlier this month, I believe.
It was January 30th.
January 30th, the end of January. I unfortunately had to miss it. I had family time that whole week. Yeah, I was out of town. Everything looked amazing, but what I didn't know is that Impulse had introduced these awards. The Marsha P. Johnson Award, which the recipient this year was Brita Filter, and the Advocacy Event of the Year Award, which went to Bob the Drag Queen and Peppermint.
Yes.
This is so exciting. And
Thank you.
And I say this not to downplay the other categories and any of the other artists, of course, or anything like that, of course. But this, aside with the, I believe there's a Living Legend Award that they have as well.
Yeah.
This is honorary.
Yeah.
And a great, great addition to, I think, the Glam Awards spectrum of it all. So can you tell us how these 2 awards, the Marsha P. Johnson Award and the Advocacy Event of the Year Award, came about?
Yeah, so I had gone to the Glam Awards in 2019 because I was nominated for Video of the Year. And it was cool, it was fun. But I also started to think that like, I felt like for me, there was just something missing as far as like it being a place of like recognition beyond like what we see. So like beyond like the bars, beyond, the music videos, beyond the go-go dancers. Like there's a lot of stuff in the community that people do that they don't do it for the flashiness. They don't do it for the pat on the back. They do it because they really care for the community. And so I was meeting with Vincent Cooper, who is like one of the co-producers of the event. And, he was just like that they were trying to look to switch it up, that they were bringing in new people. And, we spoke about like Brita and like what she has done for the community and how like Drag Race was great for her, but it wasn't because she went through what she went through. And, he was like, well, why don't we, possibly give her like, like an award? And I was like, well, that'd be dope. I was like, well, why don't we just put it under like Impulse? Because they had also asked us to sponsor the event.
Right, right.
So we sponsored it. And I was like, well, since we're doing that, I want to be able to present these awards because these are important awards that people worked hard for. It was a brand new award, so there wasn't like a nomination,
right.
or like it was literally like fresh. Like so, and then the one that went to Bob and Peppermint was because I remember during the 2020, Chicago had their Black Town Hall meeting where they called out a white queen that was just she basically worked at a lot of the bars and was really like doing like a lot of like underhanded like racism things. And that was like I think that thing was like almost like 3.5 hours, and I literally remember being in my room having my chips and dip, just really getting into it. Like it's a really really great thing if you ever get a chance to. But then Bob and Peppermint had done one as well for NYC because a lot of that was happening not like on their like kind of scale, but it was a matter of like, it's 2020. We're in the Black Lives Matter movement. There are people that are dying, police brutality, and nightlife, not really giving POC people the opportunities, And so what I liked about this one is that this was definitely an all-inclusive conversation about what we can do as a community to change. Versus when Chicago had theirs, it was a conversation, but it was also like, I feel like it was a little like ganging up on one person because literally people popped in like, remember when you said da 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 da? And like, this wasn't like that. It was like, what can we do in New York? How can we change it? What can we do to get people more inclusive? And I just thought that was really dope because that hadn't been done before and it had needed to be done. So I definitely was like, well, why don't we break it up into 2 awards? But I feel like the Marsha P Award was because, she was an activist. She worked really hard for the community. And I feel like that's what Britta did. And that's what Britta does. And I feel like we do have like, in that category, it was like, I think they had like party of the year, like nightlife event of the year or something like that. But Black Town Hall meeting wasn't even nominated. And... Wow. Like that was an issue, and they did it again for 2021 as well. And I don't know if enough people didn't see it or enough people didn't think about it as an event per se. But I felt like it needed it, and so that's kind of how that came about. And I was super super excited to like be on a stage and talk about Impulse because again, people knew that it was a part of Impulse, but they didn't know. And to be up there with Marty and Day and to like introduce these awards, to talk about, announcing Black and Bougie and talking about these awards and giving them out. And like, it was special. Because to me, it was opening a door for like new things. And I was like, if they want us, No Shade, to be a part of this next year.
That means No Shade for you,
yeah.
Sure.
Oh, yes. It's my new way of saying no shade. I just feel like it's a part of me. But I was like, I want to introduce 3 more categories next year because it's time that we open this up and it's time that like we really pay attention to like other artists like like you and I or like anyone that's doing music. Like, there's music video of the year and it's just that's
another thing I want to talk to you about in just a second. But from what I'm hearing, it sounds like the Marsha P. Johnson Award and the Advocacy Event of the Year Award is here to stay.
Yes. Our trophies were glass trophies. They were not plastic. Okay. Oh. So they meant a lot, and they were pretty. And I said, every year that we do this, I want each trophy to be different. Because each person's vision of activism is different. Like, what I may be preaching about, you may be preaching about something different.
Right.
So why should we get the same award together, but get the same award that people got the like? Right. Everyone's different,
And actually, there's going to be different things that people are advocating for over the. I know that I have my causes, so this is just like fireworks for me. This is so exciting.
Thank you.
Let's talk about your actual thoughts on the Glam Awards because, and this isn't to put you on the spot, but you had some posts that I loved actually, where you talked about the Video of the Year category. Mm-hmm. So I'll let you sort of explain how you feel about it.
So I thought, so what I do is whenever like I have an event or whenever we sponsor an event, like we kind of just let the dust settle a little bit and we just, not that we're like spying, but we want to see like the goods and the bads. And I think anybody does that when you have some kind of event or some kind of party. You like, my mom, like when we had like house parties or whatever, like the parties was fine. And the next morning, my mom would be literally in the kitchen on the phone talking to family about what went good, what went wrong. Did you see who said what? Like, I think everyone's family does that, right?
Obviously.
Yeah. And so for me, it was like, okay, like a lot of the things that they were saying, I was like, okay, like whatever, like, you know, people, it could be jealousy, it could be bitterness, it could be whatever. But I think for me, the one thing that stuck was the video of the year thing. Because I was, like I said, I was nominated for that in 2019 and I lost.
And that was for an original song.
Yes, original song, original video. It was from my Jawbreaker album, and I lost to Monet Exchange. And it didn't bother me then because I was like, whatever. Like, obviously, she just, I don't know if she had just finished her season or had just announced like All Stars, but she was still kind of like hot, whatever. And for me, I was like, whatever. Like, I just look cute. It's my first time here. But then I think I was in the photo booth this year when they announced that Aquaria had won this category, and like, you know, like people were really upset behind it. Because
Aquaria won, and that was for a cover.
Yeah, she did Born This Way, but this video I think was shot during the pandemic, I believe. I'm not really too sure, but basically it was a whole like production. And a lot of the people that said something was just like, you know, like, I'm not mad, but like she's on a higher scale than us, which is obvious, you know, like, and it's like, we're still here in New York, we're still doing local stuff, and like this award could have went to someone locally. And I was like, that is true. Like, and I started thinking about like my own losing to Monet, and I was like, well, she literally could just tweet like, vote for me here, and that's it. And so someone said that as well, like, oh, like I saw Aquaria post like a story on her Instagram thing, and like it blew
video
up.
Of the year, that's not insiders. That's anyone can vote for video of the year. Yes.
Yeah.
So that's so just so everyone knows, for most categories at the Glam Awards, it's internal. You have to be inside of New York nightlife to vote, to be eligible to vote. There are a few categories. One of them is video of the year, where the general public is allowed to vote. So that does give a leg up if you're, say, a Drag Race girl or, you know, a TikTok influencer or something like that. So
someone had mentioned that they saw like Aquaria just posted once on their stories. And that was it. And so that made me think like, well, just think if you know, someone on that scale can post once on their Instagram, once on Facebook, and once on Twitter, that's it. Like, you talking about somebody who has almost 2 million followers on the gram. And that's not saying that 2 million people are gonna literally see your story and like vote for you. But there's a high percentage chance that like majority of that population will come. So I was like, I think if we're gonna treat the Glam Awards like the Grammys, we need to have subcategories. We need to have more categories that expand beyond like, you know, like just drag queens, because we have non-binary performers, we have drag king performers, we have live vocalists. Like, we need to reach out for those kind of things. And so I was like, you know, if we're gonna be doing something like music video of the year, that's fine, because at the Grammys they do that, and they also do like song of the year. But they have like pop has song of the year, rock has song of the year, and so on. And so every category has that. And so I'm not saying that like we need to go through everyone's music and be like, okay, you're rock, you're pop, you're folk, but we need to expand this to where it's not just one category for musical artists, because that's literally what it is. It's just the music video. We're not talking about how many dope, phenomenal queer performers out there that have dope songs.
Yeah.
Some of these songs are probably a lot more better than these mainstream songs, right? And so we're not giving them the respect. We're not taking in the time or energy that it takes as an, and I can say this for myself as an artist, how much time, energy, and money and effort you put into recording, getting someone to mix and master, getting someone to shoot your video, booking the space to shoot the video. If you got dancers, you gotta hire the dancers. Like, none of this stuff is cheap versus someone that literally has a team and dancers that would just die to be in this person's presence, that you could be like, girl, I could take you out for some Taco Bell. Would you dance for me? Because, you know, I'm a drag race girl, I'm a drag girl, I'm on TV, I'm reality. Like, it's easier to get that notoriety versus someone who's local. So, you know, like the Assassins had mentioned, you know, like they were upset, you know, and had every right to, because their version of Sweet Melody was really, really fucking dope. And like, it went viral and people enjoyed it.
It was really good. It was really good. Yeah. And
you know, I don't like to use the term snub, because I feel like no one is really snubbed because things are voted properly. At least we like to think that they are. But it was kind of sad to just see people kind of like heartbroken about it. And, you know, there was obviously some assholes that was like, oh, get over it. It's just a plastic trophy. And it's like, yeah, but at the same time, when you work hard for something, you're not working with the intention of like, yes, bitch, I'm going to get this glam. I'm going to get this. You are doing it from the heart. You are doing it because as an artist, you love what you do. And then you just so happen to get nominated for it. So now you're like, oh, bitch, I'm being recognized for all of this. Like, you get glammed up, you get excited, you write a speech, you know, with the intent of like, obviously, like, I may not win, but it'll be nice to win. And then you don't even lose to someone locally. You lose to someone that's on a higher scale. So I'm working hard to change that.
Well, what I like about you is that you're not just bitching about it. After everything we've just said, you are opening doors for people.
I hate
that's a great thing, and that's what we need. We are in an expansive time because of things like Drag Race and social media platforms and things like that offer, luckily, artists in New York to reach beyond just you know, the kids who want to go to the clubs and do different things. So people like you are absolutely necessary. We have to take a little bit of a break. I'm here with Robyn Banks. It's Redefine Radio on The Face Radio. I'm your host, Freddie Cosmo, the Disco Prince of New York. We're going to be right back with Robyn Banks after this, and we're going to talk about Black and Bougie, something I'm very excited about, pretty much basically my life, happening at Hush this weekend. So stay tuned. It's Redefine Radio on The Face.
Up, get on the beat. I get up, yeah, on the beat. And that's how it's supposed to be. Dance all night long. Up, get on the beat. I get up, yeah, on the beat. And that's how it's supposed to be. Dance all night long. Up, get on the beat. I get up, yeah, on the beat. And that's how it's supposed to be. Friday night, city lights, I'm feeling restless, think I might take off my dress shoes and go out tonight. I'm in the mood, I'm feeling so good to let it go and shake it on loose. I'm with my crew to do what I do. Go get your dude, come dance with us too. Dance all night long. Up, get on the beat. I get up, yeah, on the beat. And that's how it's supposed to be. Dance all night long. Up, get on the beat. I get up, yeah, on the beat. And that's how it's supposed to be. Just came out to the party, y'all. Even though we a bit tardy, y'all. Don't want the drama, don't want the stress. Just let us live our best to best. Pour the drinks up in VIP, but only bad bitches sitting pretty with me. We hear the fire, we gon' keep it going. We dancing here to the early morn. I'm in the mood, I'm feeling so good to let it go and shake it on loose. I'm with my crew to do what I do. Go get your dude, come dance with us too. Dance all night long. Up, get on the beat. I get up, yeah, on the beat. And that's how it's supposed to be. Dance all night long. Up, get on the beat. I get up, yeah, on the beat. And that's how it's supposed to be.
Redefine Radio on The Face Radio. I am your host, Freddie Cosmo, the Disco Prince of New York. I'm here with my very special guest tonight. It's Robyn Banks.
Hey, so girl, Robyn, hey.
And I knew I didn't make this up. And we talked a little bit during the break about this. You did do an invasion recently.
I did.
Stonewall.
I did, yeah. Yeah.
But you don't. You're like elusive on social media. You like when the event's over, you're like, it's not on my IG anymore. Like it's past.
I mean, I think the only flyer that I kept is I don't think it was a birthday invasion. I think I did one in August, and I just was like, I'm just gonna keep this here for safety. I mean, I've hidden it and then I put it back because I just love the way it flows. But for the most part, when I do events, I promote them hard and I push them, and then when the event is over, I archive the photos and then the poster, and then I move it up to my highlight, just because I think that's what highlights are for. It's to highlight the events in your life, and so all my show posters, live in my highlight area.
You can stalk Robyn Banks at Ayo Robyn Banks, is it?
Yes, Ayo Robyn.
Ayo Robyn Banks on Instagram. Stalk away. How was the event? That was at the beginning of February, and it was you and Lola Michelle Kiki. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So Lola is also my co-host for the Black and Bougie show that we're doing at the end of the month. But I wanted this to be sort of like a kickoff for Black History Month for the event. And so Lola and I co-hosted this, and like, I love Lola. We call each other Mon, like Monica. It's like a little inside joke we have, but we see this, like, Mon, oh my God, Mon. Even texting, I'll be like, Mon, I love you. And so I wanted the events themselves this month to feel like variety shows. I grew up, like watching like the Brady Bunch variety show. Jessica Simpson had like this one-off variety show with her and Nick, and I just like Mad TV, like SNL. I love like just a different pace of like people. And so we had Mr. Emails, who's a drag king, a really, really dope drag king. And then we have someone named Valley Victorian, who is a dope seamstress who made my Glam Awards look. And they are non-binary, and so I just thought it was really great to like have these people on stage, like Val and Victoria, and I call Val, but Val had never performed at Stonewall. Mm-hmm. And so for me, this is the reason why I love to do these kind of events, because I think I want people to be able to be on these stages that they've never been on, right? So like I've been at Stonewall, Lola, Mel, obviously, like, so to have someone, there that has never been was like really special. And like, Val was really grateful at the end, like, thank you so much. Like, this was a new experience. I love it here. And I was like, y'all get in because it is a great space, to be in. And there's a lot of history there.
Let's talk about Black and Bougie. Okay. Let's run off a couple of the names, because this is a who's who of just Black and POC nightlife. It's yourself, Lola Michelle Kiki, as you said, Mystery Mel, who I've always loved. Mystery Mel Kiki. Scenario, I know is going to be there.
I have Stephanie. Melanin is there. Who else is there? It's so many people. They're like running in my head. One of my very good girlfriends, Robyn. I was gonna say Robyn Givens, who was actress. Robyn Fierce is a queen from Connecticut who I just love and adore, and the bitch is funny, and we just go back and forth with our names. So she's like, "Mine's is the correct way," and I was like, "Yeah, but yours is the masculine way. So get your life." But like she's a part of it. Like it's definitely like a mixture, a melting pot of performers. I think what excites me about this project is that it's a lot of people. A lot of people. But it's also a mixture of like, like there's live performers, there's poets, there's singers, there's drag kings, drag queens, drag artists. I have my good girl Bianca, who I went to high school with. She's a burlesque dancer, so she's a part of it. I definitely thought that this would be a great way to bring people together that had never worked together.
Right.
I'm very big on that, because I feel like I said, during Pride, we come together, and I think even while coming together, there's still those subcategories. So you have the group, but then you have the subcategories that are still kind of like, eh. And then I found out about the Glam Awards. The Glam Awards, we come together for one night. Hey, how you doing? Congratulations, you look great. Let's take a photo. After that, it's like, like I don't really know you.
Right.
So this, I was like, I want them to have the Drag Race experience without Drag Race, right? So I basically, with the help of Impulse, Impulse, me being the events director, sponsored the whole thing. And so I was able to hire like a videographer, a photographer, 2 assistants. I had some behind the scenes people there, So how it was is that people that arrived, you got 15 shots of yourself. You got like full body, you got half body, you got what do you call these, headshots?
Right.
And you walked over and you did an interview with people, with Kat. Kat is so dope. This is my first time working with Kat, but you know, he understood the assignment and got it done. Like, came with like a whole like his own crew, and like there was lights, and they had like one of those like mics that you pin under your clothes. Like, it was an experience, right? And so I was just excited to have that and to get the finished product back. Like, it was so dope. And then they created like this really fascinating 30-second promo clip that I was just like, it just brings it all together. Like, I'm so excited to see what everyone brings. And, you know, I've been really trying to get the word out because this event was not cheap, okay? I was trying to get the word out as much as I can, as many people to show up. And so like, I've been getting messages like, hey, it's showing up on my Explorer page. Like, people are, you know, promoting it. And then like, I've had some people come up to me like, hey, can I be a part of the show? Like, this is so phenomenal. And I'm like, we are jam-packed.
Jam-packed.
But if this isn't like a monthly thing, which I hope it would be, or like an annual thing, I was like, I'll definitely keep you in mind. Like, I definitely want, if it's a monthly thing, I definitely would love a rotating cast. I would love to, you know, have me and Lola hosted.
Right.
I have just a rotating cast of like fresh, new talent. And I feel like I wanted to open it up. Obviously, it's like Black History Month, but I feel like we as Black people, we are still connected to anyone of color. So that's like Latins, Africans, you know, just anyone that I think is considered like a POC should be involved in this and should be able to get that shine. And I know half these people on the cast have never performed, myself included, have never performed on the Hush stage. So it was like, how can I use the funding and my little bit of a platform to really bring people together and to give them a voice and to like uplift them and introduce them to new audiences, right? Because sometimes you don't want to see the same person doing the same thing over and over again. You want like fresh new talent, and, you know, and so I was like, this is going to uplift everyone. It's going to get them out there. It's going to introduce, you know, me to like new audience members and, you know, like new followers and new fans, and, you know, so I'm hoping that like, this brings a lot of people together. I've gotten a lot of messages like, can I come? Where can I buy tickets? And I'm like, it is a free event, y'all. Just tip the performers down.
It's a free event. And I think that it already has brought a lot of people together. I mean, I am a bit more connected to some of the performers than others, but the fact that it's a true to form variety show with all of the different, because, you know, sometimes there's variety shows that happen in the city, and this is no Sade. That's our word of the day, people. But, you know, it might be, you know, 4 or 5 queens and then just like one singer, you know, and it's a variety show. This is really, really a big deal. And the fact that you gave a lot of these performers that experience of getting a photo op and then doing press on hand. There's a lot of performers. I love you all so much, but there's a lot of you who don't know how to do press yet. So every little bit helps. And when you have someone who is, opening the gates here over and over again, it's a very, very, very big deal. How can we volunteer for Impulse?
So you can always reach out to me on Instagram. You can also reach out to our Impulse Instagram, which is Impulse NYC Group, GRP. If you can't find it, because a lot of people say, I can't find it. Literally just type in Impulse NYC and we're the first thing that pops up.
I love it. The future is Black and bougie, people.
Yes,
you can find Robyn Banks on Instagram, Ayo Robyn Banks. So stalk away. Black and Bougie, the premier variety show event, happens at Hush this coming Sunday, February 27th at what time?
7 p.m. is doors. You know how drag queens are. You know how artists are. You say 7 p.m. and then, you know, everyone's texting you, I'm on my way, I'm late in traffic. It's always traffic. But 7 p.m.
Allegedly. And it's going to be on the second floor at Hush.
Yes.
And it is free.
It is free. Come support, take photos, tag the people, drink up, just tip the girls down, you know.
Thank you so much, Robyn Banks, for being on the show. You have to come back on when you have your album, and we'll come and we'll talk about you. Come and you'll talk about that. Robyn Banks, everybody, has joined us for our premiere show. It's Redefine Radio on thefaceradio.com. We're doing some more music, and we still got some news to cover about some brand new nightclubs opening.
I'll stick around for that.
Yes, my sources are very credible. Stick around. It's Redefine Radio on thefaceradio.com. I'm kidding. I'm very professional, obviously. So guys, I got a DM the other day from a very credible source. Look at me having sources. There's a new club opening soon. How do I know? Because the DM told me so. I can't tell you who it is. But this new club called Verse is hiring. Apparently it's going to be in Hell's Kitchen. I don't have an exact location. I think it might be the old Boxers location. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that this club called Verse is in the hiring phases. They are looking for a general manager at the moment. The salary requirements were pretty decent. I would say they were on par for Manhattan. And I think there's big plans for this place. My question is, do you have to be Verse to work there? Versus hiring at the moment, meaning they're not far off from training, meaning they're not far off from opening. So this is exciting. My prediction, probably before Pride or Pride Month. Pride Month is a good time to open a new club, I would say.